want to be a mom.
You do?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, is that something you've always known, or did you come to that?
I've come to that.
Was there something that happened? Was there did you see a baby, you were holding a baby and you were like, uh-oh, the feeling that people talk about is happening?
I think it's more, because even my sister tell you, like, when she got pregnant with my first nephew, she was like, I had to tell you something. I was like, okay, what? She's like, you can be her. We actually had this moment somewhere else, but just tell me you're pregnant. I'm going to tell you my response.
Okay, so Megan, I got to tell you something.
What?
So we're pregnant. You're going to be an auntie. I'm going to have a baby.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow, you're pregnant.
Yes, I'm pregnant.
Why? Right now? Wow, Caesar, wait. Wow.
Did you say why, or did you...
be able to do anything? That was my response.
You did not say why.
I said right now.
Right. But we have so many
she
plans.
was like 33. But I will say, I think even that put me back a little bit, because I was like, ooh, that's a lot, you know?
Yeah.
But I think even now, I'm just super ready, because I think there was a fear that life would turn into Groundhog's Day. And I think now, honestly, in huge part to Jonathan, because I knew I wanted to be a mom before Jonathan. I knew I was about ready before Jonathan.
Yep.
But I'm like ready right now, because I have so much fun with him, and because I know that it's not going to become Groundhog's Day. I know that me and him are going to be backpacking over here, and we're going to be over here producing this movie that I might be directing and he might be producing, or he might be starring, and our kids are going to be with us in Africa, wherever it is. But I just know that even if we're not moving around a lot, that the way that we move, I really, really love. And the way that we do life, I really, really love.
And that your tribe will go with you.
Yes. And even if we don't go anywhere, it's just the texture of what the quality of life looks like.
Yeah.
It is one.
I'm ashamed. I've never wrestled with a woman before. I mean, it's just, I've never wrestled with a woman. I aggressively,
You strangled me and pushed me against the car.
Yeah, all those things are under aggress.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's never happened to me. So
because I said something sarcastically, if in your eyes.
Clearly it's more than that.
Yeah.
Clearly
something inside of you.
Yeah.
Jonathan Majors might have just dropped the biggest soft launch of the year, because fans are convinced Meagan Good is pregnant and his ex Grace Jabari is not taking it well. In fact, she's spiraling online, throwing cryptic shade and hinting she's ready to blow the whole thing up. What started as a comeback moment for Jonathan just turned into a social media landmine. And Grace, she's lighting the match. Jonathan Majors may have thought he was just posting another couple's gym video, but what fans caught in the background flipped the internet upside down. Because while Jonathan was hyping up their workout, viewers couldn't help but zero in on Meagan Good's figure. Specifically, what looked suspiciously like a baby bump peeking through her fitted top. And just as fans started speculating in the comments, Jonathan casually dropped what sounded like confirmation, slipping in a remark about her belly that sent the timeline into a frenzy. Within hours, social media was flooded with freeze frames, zoom-ins, and celebratory comments congratulating the couple on their alleged pregnancy. But while fans were busy gushing over Meagan's glow and the possibility of baby Majors on the way, someone else was spiraling, and not quietly. Grace Jabari, Jonathan's ex and the woman at the center of his domestic abuse scandal, jumped back on social media with cryptic captions, emotional undertones, and a tone that screamed one thing. This was not okay with her. She didn't name names, but the timing was too sharp to ignore, and the subtext was loud. What was supposed to be a soft launch of a fresh chapter for Jonathan and Meagan instantly turned into a war of perception. And Grace? She's not just watching from the sidelines. She's plotting, and the meltdown might be the first warning shot. While Jonathan Majors and Meagan Good were basking in the glow of public love and alleged baby joy, Grace Jabari was unraveling, and not in silence. Within hours of the video dropping, Grace took to Instagram with a flurry of cryptic posts that didn't name names, but didn't need to. Her captions were loaded with emotional landmines, talk of betrayal, warning signs, and people playing house with devils in disguise. One post showed a black screen with just the words, "Imagine protecting someone who is never going to protect you." Another featured a blurred photo of herself with the caption, "Funny how the truth waits patiently." It was like watching someone on the verge of combustion, measured in tone but clearly fueled by rage. This wasn't random venting. It felt timed. It felt personal. And most of all, it felt like a threat. The mood couldn't have been more different between the timelines. While Meagan and Jonathan were being flooded with heart emojis and baby bottle gifs, Grace's corner of the internet was tense, shadowy, and simmering. She even liked comments that said things like, "You deserve better," and "She'll learn the hard way," making it clear her silence wasn't about peace. It was about pressure. And if her captions weren't enough, her body language and her recent stories said it all. No makeup, swollen eyes, staring directly into the camera like she was daring someone to challenge her version of events. You could almost feel the resentment building with every post. What started as a redemption arc for Jonathan suddenly had a new antagonist, one who had already proven she could ruin his image once. And now, she was giving strong signals that she never told the whole story the first time. Grace wasn't just reacting. She was recalibrating, reclaiming, and possibly retaliating. And for those watching closely, it didn't look like accountability anymore. It looked like revenge. Because the way she moved, silent for months, then erupting just as Jonathan's reputation started to recover, makes it hard not to wonder, is she trying to warn Meagan? Or is she trying to torch whatever happiness he's managed to rebuild? As Grace Jabari breaks her silence, the question on everyone's mind is, why now? Why go quiet for months, only to pop back up the minute Jonathan and Meagan start glowing publicly? Well, when you look back at the receipts, the ones most people try to forget, it starts to make a whole lot more sense. Because Grace didn't just suffer in silence back then. She protected Jonathan. She bent over backward, twisted her story, and even allegedly lied to the cops, all to keep him out of deeper trouble. And now, watching him start a new life with a new woman and possibly a new baby, that silence is cracking. Let's not forget, when the original allegations first surfaced, there were already leaked text messages that painted a very different picture from the headlines. In one of the most damning ones, Grace literally told Jonathan she would lie to protect him. "I'll tell the doctor I hit my head," she wrote. "I don't want to tell them what really happened." She made it clear she was more concerned about shielding him than telling the truth, even when she was physically injured. At the time, it read like a woman in love. Now, it reads like a woman manipulated into silence. And Jonathan wasn't just passively accepting that protection. He was allegedly steering it. In another message, he warned her not to go to the hospital, writing, "I fear you have no respect for what could happen if you go. They will ask questions, and I don't think you actually protect us. Not protect him, protect us." That kind of language is textbook gaslight. Guilt her into silence, frame the abuse as mutual, and call it love. It wasn't just about dodging charges. It was about controlling the narrative. Even the phrasing, "If you do lie and they suspect something," shows he was fully aware of what he was asking her to do. It wasn't romantic. It was calculated. And she kept doing it. In later texts, Grace doubled down, telling Jonathan, "I told them it was my fault for trying to grab your phone." She explained that the police only arrested him because they saw her injuries and had no choice. But she made it clear she was doing everything possible to make sure it didn't go further. "I'll make sure nothing happens about this," she promised. It was a deliberate, step-by-step effort to protect a man she believed loved her, until he didn't. Now fast forward to today, and that very same man is smiling online, rubbing on a baby bump, and getting called a redeemed king by fans. But Grace knows what it took for him to dodge the full weight of what happened. She didn't just fall for him. She covered for him. And now, watching him step into fatherhood with another woman, she's realizing that not only did her silence protect him, it cost her everything. Her peace, her credibility, and her power. So if she's ready to set fire to what's left of his image, it's not hard to understand why. The receipts were always there. We just stopped looking. What was supposed to be just another cute couple's workout post turned into the soft launch of the year, and a PR nightmare all in one. Jonathan Major's hit post on a video of him and Meagan Good mid-squat, mid-laugh, mid-swoon. It had all the ingredients fans love, the chemistry, the matching gym fits, the playful banter. But there was one detail nobody could ignore: Meagan's barely concealed baby bump. At first glance, it could have been passed off as a trick of the lighting or just a fitted tank. But then Jonathan, in a moment that felt way too casual to be accidental, made a comment about her belly. He didn't elaborate. He didn't need to. Fans were already zooming, screenshotting, and sharing their receipts. And within hours, the internet wasn't just watching, it was reacting. The responses came fast and wild. Some fans congratulated the couple and called it a fresh start for both of them. Others weren't so forgiving. Because for every congrats, Meagan, there were 3. Didn't he just get accused of domestic violence? Tweets. The timing couldn't have been more chaotic. Jonathan was still dealing with serious PR damage from his legal battle. And suddenly here he was, publicly glowing with a new woman and allegedly starting a new family. It was giving soft launch, hard backlash. And the fact that Grace Jabari's Instagram post popped up almost immediately after, that wasn't lost on anyone. The entire rollout felt like a trigger, intentional or not. But here's the kicker. This pregnancy didn't just happen. It wasn't some random surprise or late-night accident. If you've been following Meagan Good for a while, you know she's been on a journey, and motherhood was never part of the plan. Not when she was married to Devin Franklin. Back then, she openly said she didn't want kids. She was focused on her career, on building her brand, on doing things her way. In fact, those differences around family planning were reportedly one of the reasons her marriage started to crack. Meagan wasn't afraid to say it. She wasn't ready, and she might never be. But post-divorce Meagan, a whole different story. The minute she shed the label of pastor's wife and started living on her own terms, her interviews took a sharp turn. Suddenly, she was talking about wanting to travel, to create, and yes, maybe to become a mother. She didn't sound unsure. She sounded ready, and not in some distant future kind of way. She was talking soon. She was talking seriously considering. She was talking now. So this pregnancy, if it's what we think it is, isn't some coincidence. It's not a rebound baby or a publicity stunt. It looks like a decision, a pivot, a whole new chapter that Meagan has been hinting at for months. And that shift is what's making people side-eye the timing even more. Because if she chose Jonathan as her co-parent, despite the headlines, despite the court case, despite the red flags, it raises real questions about what she knows, what she believes, and what she might be ignoring. And all of that, it makes Grace's reaction hit even harder. Because for a woman who once stayed quiet to protect him, watching him now be celebrated for stepping into fatherhood, that might have been the final straw. If you only remember Meagan Good as the red carpet bombshell who swore off kids during her marriage to Pastor Devin Franklin, then baby, you haven't been paying attention. Because this is not the same woman. This Meagan is glowing, centered, rebellious in the best way. And slowly but surely, she's been shifting from Hollywood's sexiest skeptic of motherhood to a woman who looks like she's finally ready to build a family on her terms. Back when she was married to Devin, Meagan was vocal about not wanting children. In interviews, she called the idea of motherhood not for me, at least not right now, and even hinted that she might never take that path. And people accepted it because she said it with conviction. She was focused on her career, on her freedom, on healing from childhood trauma. For a long time, her refusal to bend to the traditional mold was part of her appeal. She was the woman who said no and meant it. But then came the divorce, and with it, a total transformation. After nearly a decade of being the pastor's wife, Meagan reemerged looking freer, sexier, and more self-possessed than ever. She started doing interviews where she talked about rediscovering herself. One quote in particular stuck with fans: "I didn't change my mind, I just finally gave myself permission to evolve." When asked about motherhood on the real, she didn't shut it down like before. She said, "I think I'm finally open to it. I'm at a place where I could actually see that future now." That wasn't indecision. That was a pivot. And then came Jonathan. Their relationship may have sparked backlash, but there was no denying the chemistry. Meagan defended him when everyone else backed away. She sat in court. She held his hand. And most importantly, she stood beside him when his reputation was hanging by a thread. And somewhere in the middle of that chaos, something shifted in her. The woman who once swore off motherhood now looked like she was nesting. And people noticed. In interviews, her energy changed. She started talking about seasons of growth and building something real. She posted more softly lit photos, more affirmations about love and healing. There was even a podcast clip where she joked about needing a stroller soon before bursting into laughter. It was subtle, but it was there. Jonathan wasn't just a rebound. He was a reset. And from the outside looking in, he might have been the catalyst that made motherhood finally feel safe for her. But here's where things get murky. Because while Meagan might be fully stepping into her maternal era, the man she's building that future with comes with baggage. Heavy, public, unignorable baggage. Grace Jabari's allegations didn't disappear just because the criminal case got dismissed. And those leaked texts? They're still out there. Which begs the question, how much does Meagan really know? Is she aware of the full scope of Jonathan's alleged behavior? Did she read those messages? Did she see the bruises? Or is she choosing not to look too closely? Because here's the thing, Meagan's no fool. She's navigated Hollywood for over 2 decades. She knows the difference between a narrative and the truth. But love can be blinding. And when you want something badly enough, especially something you once convinced yourself you didn't want, it's easy to ignore the warning signs. To tell yourself your experience is different, that you changed him, that you're the exception, and maybe she is. Maybe this baby is the start of a redemptive, powerful new chapter for both of them. But if she's walking into motherhood under the illusion that love erases the past, she might be stepping into something far more complicated than she ever imagined. Because while Meagan may be evolving, the question is, has Jonathan? Just when it looked like the dust might settle, Grace Jabari flipped the script. And this time, she's not dropping cryptic captions. She's promising to blow the whole thing wide open. Grace has gone from silent witness to vocal survivor. And she's making it clear she's not finished telling her story. In a string of recent Instagram lives and close friend story leaks, Grace hinted that what we think we know is only the tip of the iceberg. According to her, she protected Jonathan during the first legal battle, not because he was innocent, but because she was in shock. She says she wasn't just gaslit in private. She was manipulated into publicly downplaying the truth. And now, she's done being polite. She claims there were multiple incidents, months of manipulation, emotional abuse, and physical aggression that never made it into police reports. She describes a pattern: verbal attacks, unpredictable rages, love bombing followed by isolation. In one message shared to a burner account allegedly linked to her, she wrote, "Everyone thinks I lied. What I did was hide for him, and I won't do that again." Grace says she has dates, photos, screenshots, receipts she kept just in case it ever got this far. And with Jonathan now playing proud partner and potential father, she's strongly implying that the time has come. The tension is thick. You can feel it. This doesn't sound like someone lashing out from heartbreak. It sounds like someone loading the chamber. And with every post, every comment, every like on a shady tweet, Grace is signaling that she's got more. More tea, more proof, more names. And that's what makes this moment feel so dangerous for Jonathan, for Meagan, and for everyone around them. Because if Grace really has what she claims, this isn't just about one messy night in the back of a black SUV. This becomes a pattern, a history, a cover-up, and it will force everyone, including Meagan, to confront the possibility that this wasn't just a bad moment for Jonathan. It was a mask. Right now, everything is quiet. Too quiet. Jonathan's team hasn't responded. Meagan hasn't commented. Grace hasn't dropped the actual receipts yet. But the internet knows how this game works. When a woman starts saying things like, "I was protecting him before, but now I'm protecting myself," you better believe she's about to go nuclear. This is the pause before the explosion, the final breath before the scream. Because what Grace is building isn't just a scandal. It's a reckoning. And if she really releases what she claims to have, then everything Jonathan Majors has rebuilt, his career, his image, his redemption arc, and even his new life with Meagan, could collapse in a single post. As Grace inches closer to unleashing her full truth, The internet is doing what it does best, digging through the archives. And what people are finding is disturbing. Because long before the scandal went public, before TMZ, before the body cam footage, before Meagan Good entered the picture, Hollywood insiders were already whispering the same story. And now, their receipts are coming back to haunt Jonathan Majors. Let's rewind to March 2023, just days before the arrest. A tweet from director and writer A.B. Allen resurfaced that read, "There's a particular actor, relatively new on the scene, who Twitter has fallen head over heels for, who in actuality is a vicious, cruel, abusive human being, both professionally and in his personal life." The tweet wasn't vague for long. When the Jonathan Majors story broke, someone replied to AB asking if the tweet was about him. AB responded, simply, "Ding, ding, ding." That wasn't shade. That was confirmation. And it didn't stop there. Tim Nicolai, another respected actor and industry voice, doubled down in a now viral thread. He wrote, "Folks at Yale and the broader NYC theater community have heard stories for years. He's a sociopath and abuser, and that is how virtually everyone speaks about him. This is a widely known secret among those who've worked with him." Pause. Years. Not a rumor. Not a misunderstanding. A pattern. One that was allegedly known in elite acting circle from his time at Yale School of Drama, all the way through to his breakout roles in Lovecraft Country and Creed 3. Tim went on to clarify that people didn't speak out earlier because, quote, "It's a legit dangerous situation and people were afraid." Read that again. Afraid. Not uncomfortable. Not annoyed. Afraid. And that's where the redemption narrative starts to crumble. Because this wasn't one woman's word against a rising star. This was a reputation that had been quietly warned about for years. A pattern of alleged abuse, manipulation, and ego so intense that people who'd worked with him were waiting for the moment it all came crashing down. And when it finally did, you could almost hear the collective "told you so." Even more chilling, A.B. Allen admitted they had deleted their original tweets out of fear that the victims could be doxxed or harassed. That's how sensitive this was. That's how many people knew something dark was hiding beneath the surface of Jonathan's carefully curated image. So now, when you see him rebranding himself as a doting boyfriend and potential father, the question isn't has he changed? It's why didn't anyone listen sooner? Because if these insiders were already talking, if the industry already knew, then Grace wasn't an isolated incident. She was the first one brave enough to speak on record. And what she experienced may just be one chapter in a much longer, much uglier story. And that's the tension Meagan Good now finds herself wrapped in. Whether she realizes it or not, she's not just sharing her life with a man under scrutiny. She's standing beside someone insiders have warned about for years. The receipts were there. The whispers were loud. And now, the silence is becoming deafening. So here we are. Jonathan Majors is out here, smiling for the cameras, doing squats with Meagan Good, and possibly prepping for fatherhood like nothing ever happened. Publicly, he's moved on, rebranded, redeemed. To the world, it looks like he survived the storm. But Grace Jabari? She's not done. Because while Jonathan is turning the page, Grace is flipping back to chapter 1. And this time, she's reading it out loud. No redactions, no soft edits, no protection. The question now isn't if she'll release everything. It's when. Every cryptic post, every subtle, like every whispered "I've got receipts" has built to this moment. Grace isn't begging to be believed anymore. She's promising to be undeniable. And the closer Jonathan and Meagan get to presenting this picture-perfect new beginning, the louder Grace's shadow grows in the background. This entire situation is starting to feel less like a coincidence and more like a countdown. Because if Grace really does have screenshots, videos, dates, messages, if she really was silencing herself to protect him the first time, then what she's holding could burn down the whole redemption arc he's trying to build. And make no mistake, she knows the timing. She sees the headlines. She hears the congratulations. And she's letting them pile up for a reason. It's giving, "Watch me ruin your press run." So what now? Will Grace drop the nuclear receipts? Will she file a civil suit? Or is this the prelude to a full-on documentary expose? No one knows yet, but here's what we do know. Grace has stopped protecting Jonathan Majors. She's done crying in silence. She's not trying to move on. She's circling back. And Jonathan? He might be dancing in the soft lighting of a staged gym video. But there's a storm brewing behind him, and Grace is holding the lightning. Stay tuned, because this isn't the end. It's the beginning of her version.